C11B, take one.
And action.
Support this black filmmaker. Okay, he's up and coming and new, and these things will be you know, available to you soon in your city. He said in your city, so he's submitting his film nationwide. Okay, so just really quickly, if you do have a couple of thoughts, let us know what you thought. Honestly, when I was watching it, I did my best to hold back my reactions because I didn't want there to be commentary to everyone else watching it. Because sometimes, you know, you go to the movies and you be like, oh, don't do that, or oh, snap. Like, I'm not going to have those kind of reactions while we're all watching it. I just wanted to keep it neutral so you can have your own thoughts, right? And there was a couple times I was holding back my laugh because I was definitely cracking up at certain parts, okay? At certain parts, I was laughing. It was funny. I thought it was funny. I thought the way Roland handled the whole finding his brother husband cheating thing pretty funny. The way he went over there, introduced himself and sat there, I thought that was hilarious. So yeah, that part, I think that was like my favorite part, probably. I think, yeah, that was my favorite part. That was my favorite part.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. And you know what's so crazy? I watched this not knowing who anyone was. I didn't know who you were.
Right. That's funny.
I didn't know who you were. I'm like, I didn't know whether you were in it or not in it. I just watched it.
Yeah. So I play soldier. So that's a funny story. But we will get to all of that once everybody starts asking their questions and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I got questions.
Yeah, you can ask.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all good.
Oh my goodness. So I'm just like super excited because I want to ask really quickly, how did you find my page on Instagram? Because you actually hit me up a long time ago when you were actually in development of everything. You haven't even finished yet and you hit me up. So how did you find me?
So we had just finished production on the movie. So we were like, you know, moving forward. We hadn't started post-production, but we were like doing little things because I have two other partners that we work, actually three other partners. Myself, Magda Alianson, Damon Didier, and Robert Humphreys. So when we finished on production, we just started, you know, when you do business, you understand that it's important to find your market and your, you know, and so of course, you know, I reached out to different Black poly groups on, you know, different social media outlets, and that's how I came into yours. So yeah, that's just how that happened. It was just me, just on my grind, hustling,
doing your research.
Yes, absolutely.
Good. So one of the things I want to ask you was, what gave you the idea to do this particular subject? Because you could have made a movie about anything, right? Or it could be any other Black poly dynamic. Right, but you chose the dynamic of a woman with two men. What gave you that particular idea?
So there were two things that inspired me to do this movie. The first one is I feel like I just had this thought. Like initially, I had this thought of what it would be like for a polyamorous or polyandrous relationship with monogamous rules.
Okay.
So it's just like people who are in throuple or a triad, but they're under, you know, even though they're open, but they're pretty much within, you know, everything is within their relationship. And I wonder how that would play out on like just in the idea. I just thought it was interesting. And then the second one is, I feel like when it comes to like, I just always just thought about, because I'm also writing a book. It's called Memoirs of a New York Fuckboy. And in that, you laughing, right?
I had to laugh because I'm from New York, so I had to laugh.
All right, so so you know, we a different breed out here. You know what I'm saying? So but in that book, I talk about how, like, a lot of times with men, when they're like, say if they've dealt with women and they've broken up with women, men have this kind of unsaid kind of mindset or this logic when it comes to their exes, and that idea is that pussy is always mine.
Right, that's the bro code. You can't.
Right, you know what I'm saying?
That's it.
So when men, you know, especially when, like, a lot of men, when they're dealing with other men, sometimes depending on the individual, there's this penis envy. You know what I'm saying? That they don't necessarily talk about. So then just kind of put in that dynamic, you know, because a lot of times when we look at poly relationships, they only talk about the good things that happen. But you know, you never see reality. You know what I'm saying? So like, even with the movie, you know, things happen. People get pregnant. Like, you know, people have jobs. You know what I mean? Like, so and that's that's like, you don't ever hear that, those things talked about in these type of relationships. Like, you know, you ever what? Do these people work? Do they, you know what I mean? It just seems like they just living this free life, like they're just like, you know, all free love, and you don't ever talk about the realities of the situation. So that's what I wanted to kind of put in the movie.
Right. That's actually, but that's the part that I really appreciate about it, because the whole, oh, this person's working, this person, like, how people live that way, right? Who's contributing to what role do you play, all of that. You know, I don't want to, you know, give out too much details, because again, this is going to be available to the public, and I don't want everyone to know what's going on.
Right.
So yeah, so, you know, I definitely appreciate that part, that you did incorporate some realism, you know, and just the fact that you also highlighted polyfidelity, because that's what it's called, right? When it's more so a commitment to the individuals within that particular dynamic. And, you know, if you have everything must be communicated, right? If you think about going outside or whatever. So there's a difference between open and closed dynamics, right? So that's why we have to do a lot of, you know, education and things of that manner. So just to see this, and how people who jump into these relationships and don't do any particular research, these are particular things that you can run into and issues that can happen. So
let me share that with you.
Yes.
So, funny story, right? So in doing the research, we went to a poly meeting in Manhattan. That was you from New York, right?
Yes.
So it was at on 8th Avenue at Ripley Greer Studios.
Okay.
You familiar with it? Are you familiar with it?
Yeah, I know where that's at. I'm trying to figure out which meeting you went to that I didn't go to. I'm feeling left out here.
It was like different people. It wasn't just black people. It was all types of people.
Okay, got you.
You know what I'm saying? So we went, and yo, my mind was blown. Like, and some of the stories that people were sharing I was just like, yo, like, this one, I remember this one guy said it was like how his wife, she wanted to explore, you know, polyamorous relationships, and he came here because he doesn't know how he felt about it, and he was in like near tears, and I'm sitting here like, oh, this is something crazy, like, you know what I mean? But like, I had learned so much, like the biggest thing I learned that I even take from, you know, like I even take like in my own relationship, is communication. Like that was the main thing that was stressed in any relationship, whether it be poly, monogamous, like it's important to have clear, direct communication. And if you
absolutely
cannot communicate properly, then you might have to rethink the relationship.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think I think that's like the major thing. People say they all want that, right? But it's not easily it doesn't come easily in action, in actual circumstances. We know this, right? Right. So, I'm just like really intrigued. I'm really
Right.
intrigued because you came up with this whole idea and everything. What made you act in the movie?
All right, so all right, it's like different, it's levels to this, right? So I
Yeah.
came up with the idea. And
Mm-hmm.
so the guy that played Dez,
Mm-hmm.
the lead guy, that's
Yes.
my boy. Like that's my people's from like, we've been friends for like 15 years. We met each other in this business, like as far as performing, acting. So
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, one day he had called me out of the blue. So he was just like, yo, what you got going on? And I told him about the idea. So he
Mm-hmm.
said to me, I'll write it. And I
Okay.
was like, word?
Okay.
He said,
So
I'll write the movie. So I
Desmond
was just
wrote
like,
wrote the story.
no, so what happened is that at the time I didn't necessarily, I've seen enough scripts to be able to write a script, but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't necessarily understand the formula to script writing. Not
Okay.
like I do now. So
Right. Okay.
he wrote the movie, but initially the movie was totally different. His version of the movie is totally different from what you saw. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? Right. So he had a totally different ending. He had a totally different like situation. And the issue with that, not the issue, but the reason that is because there were certain topics he wasn't really comfortable exploring.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So,
Unpacking,
so
I see.
right. So then what ended up happening was some time went by and I ended up going back to school. I went and to get my degree, but initially, like ironically, I ended up taking a script writing class, and my
Mm-hmm.
professor, she was encouraging us to write movies. So once she kind of taught us how to me, at least me, how to understand the formula of script writing, I went back to the movie and wrote it in my image
Okay. Okay.
and how I saw it. And so then that's how then Damon got into the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Damon, he was pretty much I would say he's the brains behind us. Like we all have our own we all have our own little thing, like our own purpose in it. And he's the technical guy. He
Okay.
understands all the camera angles that you were like, well, those were amazing. You like the shots. That's all him.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
we wanted to shoot the movie. We was gonna shoot the movie, and we needed a DP. We needed somebody to shoot it. So we knew him, and we were like,
Mm-hmm.
"Yo, are you interested?" So he was like, let me check out the script." So when he read my version of the script, he was like, "Oh no!" He was like, "Yo, I'm in." He was like, "I'll do it for free. I just want to be a part of this." He's like, "Yo, I think this is
Right.
gonna be big."
It
So,
is.
but then we were sitting and we were sitting at the Whole Foods, and this is pre-COVID. We were
Right.
sitting in the Whole Foods,
Mm-hmm.
having our meeting, and
Mm-hmm.
he was telling us, he was like, because I was gonna direct it, and Rob was gonna just produce it. We didn't have
Mm-hmm.
anything of being a part of it, and so Damon was just like, I just saw y'all acting in it,
Mm-hmm.
and we were like, yeah. And you know what I'm saying? He was like, no, I think that I see you being Rollins talking about me. He said, I
Mm-hmm.
see you being dead. And he said, think about it. So what ended up happening is that I ended up directing and starring in it, and Rob ended up producing and starring in it. And Damon was pretty much like my mentor throughout the whole
Mm-hmm.
process. So like while I was acting, he was pretty much directing everything and just
Right,
doing.
right. Bringing your vision to life.
Right, absolutely.
Right.
So that's how it is. Because I realized on set you can't have like even I mean maybe it's different in relationships, but you can't have two masters. You can't have two leaders. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's gonna have to kind of play the back burner. And I told him like, yo, look, we can talk about things behind the scenes, but you are running the show here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
like because when you have too many voices, it kind of confuses people.
It's all about the balance of just respecting each other's gifts, right?
Right.
If you understand that this person is great in this particular area, then you kind of
Right.
have to be like, okay, well, let me go to you for that, right?
Right.
And that's all that is. It's kind of like an unspoken thing, but you kind of, everyone has to have respect for each other's gifts, right? Each
Absolutely.
other's strengths. So we kind
Right.
of just have to be mindful of that, even though we may have great ideas and insight.
Right.
So that's all that is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
And that's
that's what
exactly one of the
I
things we need to
appreciate
do
about it.
inside
You
of
know what I
that
mean? Like
kind of
we all,
relationship too.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just like, okay, well, do me a favor, and I want you to just give us like, are you poly? I have to be able to separate you from your character real quick. So give me a second. So
no, I'm not. No, I'm not
you're
poly. You know,
not okay.
I'm in a monogamous relationship.
Okay.
So you know, but like I said, in my younger day, like it's crazy. Like they talk about poly, but I remember when it was just called open relationships. They didn't necessarily have a name to it. You know what I mean? It was just like you
Right.
dating. You know, you dating different people. So of course, you know, in that sense, I think we've all done that. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But you know, at
Right.
that
Well,
point, you know,
open relationships and like polyandry is kind of different. Like what you
right, it's
portrayed
different, right?
here was more so a polyandrous relationship because it was closed, right? It was
Right,
closed to those people, and then you have open where people can kind of do whatever, right?
right,
But I like how you were able to incorporate and show that, you know, it can still, even though it's multiple people, there can still be infidelity, right? So
right.
that was really good that you put that in there. Um, but yeah, so everyone wants to know where's the rest of the movie. We kind of want to see the rest of it. We want to see more. Like, what's going on? You like
So,
said it right at the, you know,
so,
right
so
at the
with that, when
climax.
we initially wrote the movie, we didn't see that, or we didn't foresee people kind of gravitate into it. We knew that we were gonna grab people with the ending. We knew that the ending was crazy. We knew that it was gonna be one of those things that was gonna leave people like, what? You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
right, we didn't really anticipate creating more to it
Hmm.
until we would show it or screen it, or you know, just little checking it out, and we kept getting the same responses. Where's the rest of it? When is going to be more? Da 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 da.
Hmm.
So like now what's going on is that, you know, like me and Damon specifically, we're talking about, you know, what would the extension to this, because we can go two ways. We can create a prequel, which
Hmm.
will then shows how the people got into the how they got into the relationship and how they came into
Yes.
their triad, or we can show the after, you know, the after the
The
ending. You know what I'm saying?
continuation.
I don't want to give it away, but we could show the after the ending. And interesting enough, just to give you an idea, you know, just to kind of spark like how I had it, the opening for me would be of the next part of it, where they would all be in like couples therapy. But there are three people in a relationship, and
Hmm.
the therapist is dealing with them. And in my mind, I'm thinking that would be funny, because I'm sure no therapist has ever had to deal with a
Right.
three-way relationship, and they have to navigate this. So I'm sure, like, I just thought it would be an interesting concept. So that's kind of what I'm
Mhm.
still starting off with. You know what I mean? I'm building off of that, and just kind of creating a storyline from there.
That's really dope. That's really dope. And I'm glad you gave a little something, something like, yeah, we're working on something,
Right.
because we all sitting here like, oh man.
Well, I do want to ask questions, because like one of the things for me is, and like you said, like you don't really see relationships where you have a woman and two
Hmm.
men.
Right.
There's usually the
Absolutely.
opposite, right?
Hmm.
And as a man, I was honest about who I am in writing Piper's character.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to make her come off, because I think that a lot of times men tend to write women characters very one-dimensional.
Yes.
So my question is, like, for the people out there, did you feel like Piper's character was one-dimensional, or did you feel like she had different layers? Like, did you? Because there are people who felt like that they didn't know if she was being grimy, they didn't know if she was really pregnant. Was she saying that to kind of keep the situation at bay? There was just so many different elements, and I would like to hear from the audience, like, how did y'all feel about that?
Well, yeah, you guys
And you
can go
included.
ahead and answer that question. I personally feel like that's why I think a prequel is perfect to also have, even though you can do the continuation, but you can also do a prequel. Marvel does it all the time, okay?
Right.
And that's how you keep people hooked. But I think it's necessary just because we need more character development, right? We need to come in and become very empathetic towards these characters. Like, oh, I really like this person. Like, I was able to, with the short film, I was able to fall in love with Rollins, right? Just because I kind of understand the plight of the Black man in America, where sometimes it's hard for him to get work, or things is happening and he's just struggling, right? And he may need support from family, friends, or whomever he's in a relationship with. So I understand that. And then I also understand him also upholding the like relationship and things of that nature. So, and then he could cook. So, he got me. I'm like, where my plate at?
So I'm glad you said that. So that's another question that I have. Like, do you feel like in any relationships, not just poly, but monogamy, like, say if somebody's out working, but then you have a situation where you have someone taking care of the house, taking care of the home, doing all these things. Are they playing their part, or is it more so about the money that's being involved?
I saw that element in there too. That's actually a good element, and that's where a lot of people in the community debate about, whether you are contributing, to the relationship. So, but he's never been in a polyamorous relationship. How can he truly understand the dynamic? He's done research and he's asking questions. And he is also doing research. There's a lot of filmmakers who go into the business, and what they do before they make a film is they go around and do research and do interviews, ask people this, ask people that, and then they can make a movie off of what they collect of other people's experiences, So that's just what happens, right? So yeah, as far as her character, it is really hard to tell whether she's one-dimensional or complex or whatever, because we just need a little bit more information. So the prequel will help us with that, how they got into that situation, how they met each other, what she liked about everybody, because what she liked about Rollins, what she liked about Des, because that would help, right? When she did say, oh, I'm pregnant, I'm like, well, why would she lie, right? Why?
Right.
I mean, my thing is, I can see younger women playing those kind of games, right? With their boyfriends. You in high school, right? You maybe 19, 20. You want to play those games and keep people in relationships. But when you're older, these were older people in this relationship. So you got to understand, they had to have had some level of maturity, right? So Tia says, I felt like her caught up between feeling guilty about natural attractions and pleasures. She was clearly multidimensional. I seen content and conflicts in her. Great job.
That's dope. Yes. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Right. You can see that she's conflicted, and also their relationship calls for more communication, right? Because obviously they don't communicate. He comes in, they look at each other, it's like unspoken people, and that comes from monogamous culture, right? Assuming, just looking, like, and keeping everything inside. So once you open yourself up to having like a polyandrous relationship or anything that's ethically non-monogamous, you have to go into a different realm of relating. You have to go into a different realm of being transparent, right? Because now you have to start communicating about everything, right?
Right. And that was a huge thing with doing the film, and we wanted to be honest. So even with some of the dialogue, it was funny because there was a part in the movie, I think, where, if you remember, where he grabbed me up. And he threw me up in the refrigerator, and then I said what I said to him. You know what I mean? And I think that was also another thing that we wanted to explore. You know what I mean? As far as same sex, relationships with with men specifically, and how that plays out without it being stereotypical. You know what I mean? We didn't want to like be too over the top with it, but just like enough where people would leave. They would at least see the ambiguousness in their relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, what's going on here? Like, you just kind of wondering, like, are they with each other? Are they? You know what I mean? That's like a lot of the questions.
That was a question.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So that was something too that we wanted to at least put out there, because if it's a throuple, it's all three people are in the relationship together, dealing with one another. And then you have the struggle of that one person who has issues, like, or there's that guilt of actually him going that way, because like you said in the backstory, like I wrote a whole backstory with it, and it was more so about Piper introduced Des to that lifestyle.
Okay.
And
it seemed like it.
Right. And initially everything was cool and it was fun until after Rollins is living there for a certain amount of time, and Des is having his issues, not so much about, because I wanted to make the work and the money thing like the subtext, like or at least that's on the surface. But the real issue is that he has issues with the fact that he's not getting the attention that he needs from the woman.
Right. Validation. Validation is what he was seeking, and also being able to navigate how the relationships won't mimic each other. Her feelings won't mimic. It's going to be different. It's going to be a different connection, and it's not going to be exactly the same. Like, oh, you do this, me and you, we connect in this particular way. Me and him is going to connect in that way too. So that whole assumption that people come in is something that you cleared up, and I like that too. I definitely like that too. So yeah, but I definitely enjoyed it. It was definitely fun. I laughed a couple times. I was like, okay. But yeah, I need to see more what's going on. I need to see more.
We are definitely working on it. We wanna, because of this this experience, like what you did actually gave me an idea of how to, with the new age and the new like wave of technology, how everything is being virtual now. You actually gave me an idea of how we can have a large screening, you know what I mean, through Facebook Live, like, and you know what I mean, and it just kind of just really gave me a template, because I actually wrote everything down. I was like, oh, okay, boom, 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 like, you know what I mean, I like how this is, but we just have to explore a little bit more. But once we work out the kinks and work, kind of come up with a strategy, we're looking to have another, like, something like what you did. We're looking to have it in like early June, the latest. Because we need to get this out.
Beautiful. Yeah, so you can continue to hit me up and we can work on that. I'll do my best to help you any way that I can, because I have like the major, I have access to like almost everybody in the community, so yeah, I will definitely help you get the word out, and just support your projects, because I think you did a really good job.
Right.
You know, just with just everything. It did come out looking very professional, and it wasn't cheesy, right? It wasn't cheesy.
I
So, you know, I've
appreciate that.
seen a couple other things. I'm like, but you know, because people send me stuff all the time. People send me stuff all the time, and the public will never ever see if I didn't like it.
Right. I
You
feel, well,
know?
that was the thing for me, like, cause just outside of filmmaking, like I've been an actor, for about 20 years. You know what I'm saying, in the film industry. So, you've been around enough projects to see what you want and what you want to be a part of.
Right.
So we
Mm-hmm.
spared no expense as far as getting the best equipment,
Yes.
trying to, really put the best foot forward. If you notice, like, we got hooked up because we got the hookup with the Grill restaurant
Yes. I've seen
on
that.
Fifth Avenue in Brooklyn. You know what I mean? We were able to get
Mm-hmm.
that, you know what I'm saying? Like, just we were, this whole situation, we were really blessed to
Mm-hmm.
to just get what we need to make the best movie possible. So
Yes. I'm in full support. I'm in full support. And I thank you so much for even, you know, giving us the opportunity to, you know, just have like a private screening. So I thank you so much for that. And I can't wait till the rest comes out. But yeah, thank you for even coming to talk to us too and give us more insight, because this is like, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Thank you so much.